So we will conduct the business of the city. At this point, if there's no objections, we will set the agenda as published. Hearing none, we will have it set as published. At this time, I'd like to call on our Fire Chief, Chief Jamie Luffman, to come forth and lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you, sir. Is depth perception a symptomatic? No. My bad. I'd like to start out by reading a verse from Titus chapter 3, verse 1. Remind the people to be subject to rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready to do whatever is good. If you would pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for every seat that has been filled here today and the seat that is to be filled. For each mind and heart that exists in the presence of this room, we thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today and in our time to come. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good for those we serve, your people. The righteousness of your Son, the Lamb, transcends all our efforts and understanding. Forgive us for our pride. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless this meeting tonight and the days to come, all those present, as well as the lives of those we will encounter and affect afterwards. Ready us to make every moment count. Strengthen these elected representatives and chosen administrators who have accepted your will and blessing to serve with peace, courage, and integrity. Please bless their families as they support them. Please heal thy world. Thy will be done. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. If you would stand, we'll recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the Board of Commissioners meeting from November 23rd. Is there a motion? Second on those? All right. Any changes, comments? All right. All in favor of the minutes as published, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. That passes unanimously. Next order of business is citizen comments. If you would like to make a comment on any subject to the Board of Commissioners, you now have the option to come forward and do so. I'd ask you to state your name and address for the record, please. Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Will Sellers. I live at 2520 Port Kembla Drive in Willoughby Station. And as you all are already aware, I am a candidate to fill the vacant position for District 2. And I would hope that by now you have seen there were 2 resumes I sent. One resume was a compilation of my professional career, and the other one was a complete chronology of my public service career, if you will. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call, write, or yell at me anytime you want. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Your name and address for the record, please.
Grinch, lived over on Cave Road 53 years. Got a problem with you people. Don't know if you know it. Went for a bike ride Saturday morning. Traffic up and down this road. Is that a crawl? People were throwing things at me. Paparazzi everywhere. I had a pretty good brush pile in front of my house the other day. Somebody come by, took it. Max said it had a public works truck nearby. Don't appreciate that. All these flatfoots. Somebody stole the potholes on Clearview. Not going to catch them in here. What are you going to do about it?
Well, let me ask you this. If you think you can do it better, why don't you just come up here and do it?
Where do you want me?
Right there. Grab your microphone.
I accept the nomination. I'll be better than the last two, I promise.
It's only half true.
First motion, defund the police until 12/26. Easier to steal Christmas. All in favor? Really? Nobody? All right. How about rezone Charlie Dennis Park, industrial, landfill, make me the director. See, that's where you say second. Nobody? The only other property that works, right over here beside the railroad tracks. You know which one I'm talking about?
You talking about the property the city used to own?
Yeah.
The Christmas store? Christmas store coming to town?
I resign.
Well, I guess the District 2 seat's still open, so. Well, anyway, any additional citizen comments that don't live in Whoville and actually in Mount Juliet? All right, moving right along then. We'll move on to commissioner reports. The District 2 seat was recently vacated again, so we'll move to the District 3 seat. Commissioner Scott Hefner.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank everybody, all the citizens that came out to the Christmas parade. I also want to thank the Parks Department, everybody that worked on the parade, Mount Juliet Police Department. It was absolutely one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It was such a treat and an honor to be able to ride in the parade, and to see all the smiling faces was very heartwarming. So again, appreciate all the efforts and hard work that was put into that went into that, by all the staff, and thanks to all the citizens that came out and participated. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to District 4, Commissioner Jennifer Mullally.
Again, also the Christmas parade, I think, turned out really well. I'm so glad the weather turned out good too. And it was good to see those participants along because of the weather, I thought it's going to rain. I was so worried about it. But it was good. I really enjoyed it. And thank Raylan and Nisi for helping me throughout the candy. And then my newsletter for November has been sent out, jennifermullally.com. And if you'd like your email added to the list, please send me your email. That's it.
Thank you. I'll just add, I want to thank everybody that participated in the parade, all the staff, the volunteers that worked a lot of hours, the volunteer committee, the parade committee that put in a lot of time to make that parade go off as successful as it was. And, you know, it's things like the parade that are so important this time of year that just kind of ring Christmas in for Mount Juliet, and just an opportunity to get back to a little sense of normalcy. The other item is the Christmas tree lighting. I got to thank Shiloh Baptist Church for the wonderful effort they put into that. And really, again, just a very nice thing to do for the city. There's not a lot of opportunities when it comes to Christmas to do a lot of outdoor events, unfortunately, but that's just the nature of Christmas. A lot of it's inside and families. And I know a lot of people out there are in a situation where maybe you can't be with your family, or you got a family member that's sick. Just know that we're thinking of you, and we're considering ourselves a lot of things that you're going through. And I know my family is not going unimpacted by some of the things that are going on with COVID and other stuff out there. So I just asked you to remember those. Let's follow the example of the reason we celebrate Christmas, and, you know, look out for our neighbors, humble ourselves in this time, and just reach out and help people when we can. Reach out to them, those people that are going to have to be alone for Christmas because they're at higher risk than others. I just ask that you remember them. I'd ask too that you consider the people that, you know, just a few months ago in March that lost their homes, that some of them still haven't gotten it back, and, you know, that they can't go home for Christmas. Some of them are still displaced. Some of them are in construction, that you remember them as well too on these things, and just a opportunity for all of us to count our blessings. So with that, again, thank everybody for their efforts. Just wanted to say Merry Christmas, that we're thinking of you, and we look forward to our upcoming next year in the city. So with that, we'll move on to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And for those that are watching at home, I too would like to thank our staff in particular, not only for what you did during the parade, but those what they do afterwards, and of course all year round. It's been a unique year to say the least here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And if community ever needed a Christmas parade, it was Mount Juliet, Tennessee, especially with all that's happened this year. I also want to say that we're praying for all the folks that are ailing with the COVID, and of course, and then other people that have lost their lives as a result of COVID, and also others. We've learned here recently of some folks that have passed, including a person that was on our Parks Board. And so we pray for them. It's, it's a terrible time, of course, this time of year to lose a loved one regardless, but especially right here on the cusp of Christmas. But I just want to thank our staff and the citizens for all the hard work. The weather broke just in time. The weather was absolutely beautiful. And for all the participants, all the people, for all the hard work that came out. I think a lot of people were pining for a Christmas parade. And as Commissioner Hefner had said, see all the smiling faces meant a whole lot, because there hadn't been a whole lot of that this year. So I really appreciated that. So I just felt like we're extremely blessed. I appreciate every person in this community that makes Mount Juliet what it is, and looking forward to a great year in 2021. So Merry Christmas to everybody. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. At this point, we will get into the business, and we'll start with item 9A1, an ordinance to fund the emergency services from the general fund and to replace ordinance 2011-51 upon passage. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments, discussion?
All right, I will motion to defer to a work session. There's 4 people sitting on the board. 3 of us campaigned on a platform of wanting more work sessions. I just can't see there any reason to rush this through. It's not going to take effect until the new budget cycle anyway. So I think it's an opportunity to keep our campaign promises and defer to a work session so we can include the public. And thank you, Jackson, because Jackson Gallagher submitted his opinion as well. Thank you for your letter. I would like to get more public input as well.
You need to read it.
So I motion to defer to a work session.
Is there a second? Okay, hearing none, the motion fails. At this point, I'm going to go to the city recorder. I think we have a comment that needs to be read into the record,
Yes.
or just mention that it's going into the minutes. I'll defer to you on
Okay.
guidance.
Jackson Gallagher, who lives in Jackson Hills, if I remember correctly, sent in a comment that he supports funding the fire department out of the general fund, like most cities does, so that it can be adequately funded and provide the safety and protection to the citizens and businesses that Mount Juliet deserves. He was unable to attend because they had their first child last week. So congratulations to him and his wife.
Thank you. Okay, back to the item on the table. I would say, Commissioner Mullally, I understand your efforts to and desire to discuss this, but I would add that this is something that I have been talking about since at least February of 2017. So it's not a new item for me, and I just feel like I've discussed it as many ways as I can.
As far as campaigns go, I ran on that. I mean, we need to properly fund the fire department,
No, I know.
and
Yeah.
that's what we plan on doing.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I'm going to say nay because I think there's more accountability if we leave it the way it is. I would rather look at alternative ways to compensate the funding versus, and I want them to have everything they need. And I fully support our fire department, but I would rather find alternative ways than moving it into the general budget. But you have the votes, so it is what it is. But that's my reason.
Understand. All right. Next order of business is ordinance 11A1, an ordinance to rezone property being found at 808, 830 North Mount Juliet Road, map 77H, parcels 6 and 7 from Office Professional Services, OPS, to Commercial Town Center, CTC. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It is properly motioned, seconded, on the table for discussion. Is there any discussion, comments, concerns?
So my understanding is this is going to allow for what's being added, entertainment, restaurants, which is currently it's not zoned for today.
Let's get the city planner up here. She would. She'd give us the
Hello.
exact details of what the differences are.
Sure. Well, like you said, the major difference would be to allow the retail and the restaurant use in that zoning classification between OPS and CTC.
Okay.
And that is the intent for the ordinance, to allow more opportunity for tenants.
Are there any additional buffer requirements? Just thinking, just consideration of the folks on Barrett Drive that have to back up to these, what will be restaurants and,
It would be
Other-
the 20-foot standard buffer with a fence.
okay.
Yes, sir.
We ready to vote? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Okay.
It's okay. So let that show that passes on first reading 2-1. All right, ordinance 11A2, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2021 budget, ordinance 2025 to appropriate funds for the Town Center Trail project. Is there a motion?
Motion.
I'll second. City manager? It's under your sponsorship.
Yes, sir, Mayor. And I'm going to defer to Mr. Matt White here, our deputy public works director.
Yeah, this is a situation where we didn't carry enough over from last fiscal year to this fiscal year because we assumed the project would have been more completed last fiscal year. Some delays happened and more got completed this fiscal year. We had a surplus of, or not a surplus, but an unspent balance last fiscal year, a little over 900,000. We only carried over 130,000 to this fiscal year.
Okay.
So we're asking for an additional 285. So we're still saving about 500 grand, but
It's
we just didn't carry over enough. This
not
is
new money, it's just money
No.
not carried over.
carried over.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So that passes as a unanimous vote with at least 3. That counts. 11A3, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2021 budget, ordinance 2025 to appropriate funds for scuba units, SCBA units, for the Mount Juliet Fire Department. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It's on the table. Fire Chief, you want to tell us what you're doing with these?
And thank you. In 2013, when we began the Mount Juliet Fire Department, Chief Aaron Kinney and I had selected MSA as a manufacturer for our self-contained breathing apparatus. That's the air tanks that we use when we're in IDLH, or immediately dangerous to life and health, fighting basically inside of a burning structure or a hazmat instance. We chose MSA because the interoperability. Nashville Fire Department uses MSA, Wilson County EMA uses MSA, and Lebanon Fire uses MSA. So in the event of a mass casualty event, we would have equal interoperability with our SCBA units. And that's, obviously the air that we breathe when we're in these environments is paramount. What has happened recently is MSA has gone through a new marketing program and a complete redesign of their SCBA units. The units that we use now are trade named the Firehawk units. What MSA is going to is a G1, or first generation type of SCBA. And one of the things that they're doing is they're taking the tech away from out of the mask and putting it into the unit. This has hit the aforementioned agencies, Nashville, Wilson County EMA, and Lebanon Fire, and everyone else that's using MSA has hit them kind of pretty hard. What's going to happen is in the next 2 to 3 years, the Firehawk units that we use now will not be able to be serviced. They will no longer be making parts for those. So we'll be having to add off-brand pieces, parts to make those work. One of our vendors who looks out for us in numerous ways had come across an opportunity. There was an industrial agency that had 13 of these units. They had never been used. They were tested, hydrostatically tested. They did train on them, I think, twice in 4 years. And these units, these 13 units are like new, and they have 11 years of service life left on the cylinders. Each one of the package includes an SCBA frame, 2 cylinders, a mask, and a battery charger. To the short run of it is these 13 units represent a third of our fleet of what we will be going to in the next 2 to 3 years. We have them offered to us at half price. Normal unit price for what I described is $7,000 each. We've got an opportunity to pick up these 13 for $3,500 a piece, or $45,500, or a savings of equal amount, $45,500. And it's, like I said, this is just the first of many opportunities that we're going to be seeking out to try and find. This is obviously a humongous expense, and we're a small department, but we're going to be looking for deals and brother-in-law specials between now and the next 2 to 3 years. This one is just the first one that has come up before the administrators of the fire department, and it was an opportunity to save a third of what we would be spending on, or half of what we would be spending on a third of our fleet. We have a new mini pumper that is due for delivery in June of this year, as well as a replacement for the QRV that was lost in the wreck on the interstate. These units here will go on our first response units, which will be the squad, the engine, the ladder, the tower, and the new mini pumper that'll be stationed here at Station 3. The ones that the Firehawk units that are still under that we still are feasible and functional, they will be moved to our ladder and our tower and any secondary vehicles that we have. And then the extras will be moved into training, which the units that we're using now are simply training units. We have no parts. If they break, they're broke. And then we'll explore if, when all of this is said and done, if there's an excess and a need, a desire for the board to aid and abet a nearby volunteer unit, we can make a donation of what we have left over then.
Now, everything that was purchased in 13 has to be replaced anyway. Was that a 10-year life cycle on those?
Yes, it's a 10-year life cycle.
So we're coming up on that.
Yes, sir.
Anyway.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Sounds like great work.
Well, it's like I said, it's the first of many. We're going to go out there and beat the bushes and flip the rocks and try to find as many many deals as we can, because this does represent a sizable expense, unfortunately. But it is a primary piece of equipment that each of our firefighters needs.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. And just one other unrelated to you, it's for Travis. We show on the air, but I'm seeing I'm not seeing me. There we go. I don't know if that was just the feed here or okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, we're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let that show 3-0. 11A4, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget ordinance 2020-25 to appropriate funds for an inspector for the Building and Codes Department. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All right. It is on the floor. City Manager?
Mayor, thank you so much for consideration. I should have actually done this back when we added the 2 parks employees that'll start at the beginning of the year. And our building development director is in the room. He doesn't have to speak. I'll speak for him, save him the trouble. I should have added that then. I didn't. And to his credit, they've tried to draw this out till next year, but they're just a little overwhelmed right now with all the growth. We fully anticipated when the tornado hit, and of course, when we were doing budgets at the time with the pandemic, the growth would slow down.
Was this planned for the budget and one of the items that got pulled?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we took it out. And that was the only 3 employees that we took out. There was a few others that we wouldn't have put back in anyway, but these were 3 of the most needed. And I should have done this at the time we did the parks employees. I didn't add it in.
He asked my question.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just for anybody out there wondering what I'm talking about, we going into the budget cycle, we had I guess what we call a very lean budget that we passed, not knowing what the future would hold economically for the area. So this was a need that was long anticipated. So this isn't just, it's not just a Christmas present for somebody. This is actually something that's been planned for a while now.
Yeah.
So
American add to, I know how much the elected body, we try not to bring any budget amendments back. This was such a unique year. I appreciate the consideration, really do.
well, I think when you pass a lean budget, sometimes it's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
Just a side effect. All right. Any discussion, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Let that show three positive votes.
Thank you.
Next item on the business is 11A5, an ordinance to waive in the amount of $1,999 for the building permits, building plans review, plumbing fixture fee, and plumbing permit fee in construction of the St. Jude home in Jackson Hills being built by Signature Homes. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
I have a question. Is this the 3rd home for St. Jude?
Yes, ma'am, it is. It's a big honor for years they do this in Williamson County. And then, of course, when he constructed Jackson Hills, and we skipped a year, there was a year we skipped, and it is a huge honor. And the hope for St. Jude's is that they'll raise not only the money to build the house, but also additional money to go to, all the money goes to St. Jude's. So every penny saved for them goes to the children.
Okay.
And it's awesome. It's a huge blessing. And I think they'll probably be doing this for years to come. They really have appreciated the support they've got in Mount Juliet, and especially that support of our elected body.
Did we waive the fees before?
Yes, ma'am.
We did. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And you answered my question because I was wondering about 100% of the proceeds goes directly to
It
the
is.
children. So
And
there's
we'll
no-
encourage folks, especially during ticket sales, to buy a ticket, because I believe the tickets are $100. And every time you see the faces of the folks that win the house, most of the time it's a couple, they're very excited. And they're absolutely beautiful homes.
Do some good work. All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
Thank you.
Passes 3-0. Next item is Resolution 11B1, a resolution to approve the process for applying and appointing the District 2 Commissioner vacant seat until November 2022. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. It's on the table. Any comments, discussions, questions?
No, just to confirm, applicants have till the 28th of this month, and we bring nominations January 11th.
Yes. Without looking at it, that's the way I remember it,
Okay.
the dates at least,
Thought
but
so.
that's the process.
Okay.
So you have the 28th to apply to the city recorder. You put your name out there. I think a lot of people have sent a resume, and then the commissioners will have an opportunity from the 28th to 11th to get with the applicants.
I think officially we have 3
Yeah.
submitted.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that passes. 11B2, a resolution to ratify the previous authorized contracts to purchase property at 430 Clemens Road for the Public Works Department and land located at the corner of Tate Lane and West Division for parks property. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's on the table. Any questions or comments?
I'll add something. This is just housekeeping. Basically, the properties have been purchased, but we had to go before the planning commission, which we weren't aware of at the time. And of course, they were supportive of it as well. So housekeeping. So thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, sir. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. And thank you all for not asking what happens if we vote it down. The next item of business is 11B3, a resolution declaring the City of Mount Juliet sewer finance property a surplus to be disposed of at Gov Deals auction. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right, hearing a motion and a second, the item's on the table. Any discussion, questions, or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. The last item of business is a discussion item, 11C1, report on debt obligations to refunding bond series 2020 requested by law to be presented to the Board of Commissioners. And that is under my sponsorship. So I'll just say this. This is not really a discussion item that you have to discuss, but it is a requirement by law that you be made aware of it. The information was part of the minutes that wasn't there, that just disclosed the fact on the 23rd that I signed the bond refinancing on those that was passed by the previous Board of Commissioners. And what am I missing, City Manager?
That it is. The only thing I would add, Mayor, thanks to this elected body, you saved the city a lot of money.
That is true. Do you remember the annual amount? It was in one of your notes, but it was,
Yeah, I think it was,
I think it was 8 million total, or did
Yeah.
I dream that?
yeah, it was a lot of money.
8 million.
Yeah, that was the total savings from the refinance, going off my memory, which is,
More than cover the fees.
yes, it more than covered the fees.
Mhm. So thank you.
All right, any other questions about this item? That being our last item of business, I will adjourn the meeting if there's no objections. All right, hearing no objections, this meeting is adjourned.